Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends of the Old Kingdoms. This is our 6th episode of our 2nd season, and things I'd say are heating up, but it looks like they're beginning to thaw. I'm Asmo Daniker. We are Heathen Cantina, and I'm going to introduce you to my fantastic crew. As I introduce them, they're going to say who they are, they're going to say who they're playing, and I'm going to keep score. And then they're going to tell me their favorite moment of the season so far. Alrighty. So we're going to start down in the grunting acknowledgement corner with Mr. Arthur Black. Hello.
Hey, y'all, I'm Arthur. Am I muted? No, I'm on.
You were
Okay.
grunting acknowledgement.
I was. I didn't know you heard it. Hey guys, I'm Arthur. I'm playing Teller, our local bard, and Ham. My favorite moment of the stream so far, the season so far. Man, that is a tough one. I think it's honestly going to have to be Flix's Fireball from last season or last episode. Flix's Fireball of fourth, I believe. Not even fire because they were
Radiant.
imps. Radiant,
Radiant.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Flix had a lot of dope moments in the last session. And that was really the cherry on top. Like dispelling the elemental, that was great. But then just divinely poofing those little imps out of existence really cleared the whole battlefield and just opened it up. Yeah, real glad Flix is here. That was mine for the season. Do you want me to pass it on? How about Flix?
Oh, yeah, always pick your victim.
Good evening. Azadam playing Flix Dazzle Dove, our resident Order of the Scribes wizard. And for me, I would say my favorite moment from this season was when Merkela bit into the chicken and had some nice, hellish, spicy taste. So that was my favorite moment. And so I'll pass it off to Eldine.
Howdy, y'all. I am Sandy. I'll be portraying Eldine, our Goblin Hexblade Warlock. God, favorite moment from this season. It's been intense. It's been a lot of battles so far. I think when Eldine got the opportunity to shit talk back at the undead warlocks a little bit, telling me which side I'm supposed to be on and acting like they know something. It's like, well, I like that little opportunity for Eldine to sass back a little bit with her warlock powers in a way that it felt good for her, I think. And with that, we will kick it on over to Kelton.
Well, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around it. I even started looking at my notes, but I can't not also say that my favorite moment was the Radiant Fireball from last session because it was so glorious. I looked through a bunch of stuff and I was like, well, that was cute, that was fun, but like, I was absolutely clutch. It was amazing. And the timing was so perfect. It was just stellar. Oh yeah, I'm Kelton. I'm playing Empty Pockets. He's weird. We always forget that bit, don't we? And yeah, that would be Nick. Uni.
Hey, I'm Uni or Chronic or Nick or if you're on Blue Sky, Nighttime Nick. I'm playing Merkala, Bloodfang, Margravine of the Wyvern Isles, our Drake Warden Ranger, Dampier. Favorite part, I mean, I have a few, but I have to say the Fireball, the Radiant Ball was sweet, but I think the Banishment was even sweeter, personally.
That was fun.
Taking that fucking ice elemental right out of play. And then when Asmo asked how long, and Azadim was like, well, permanent if I can keep concentration. That was awesome. I feel like I also really dug the fight with the the fight before that, the battle before that with the devils on the frozen river. Just watching, our wizard, who we know is a complete and total badass now, get turned into a turtle was kind of hilarious. Yeah. And sorry, I know I have multiple and I'm giving multiple, but my final
good.
is the fact that we as like characters, like of course we as players know that Eldine's a warlock, but our characters are getting hints and ideas of this
I was
pact
just
that
thinking
she
about that.
signed.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
It's like, Auntie, why do all these devils know your name?
yeah. What about what's this throne thing they keep talking
They
about?
seem very familiar to you.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all
So
ain't nothing to worry about. You just
So-
hush.
They
There's a
must be
couple
from
things,
the other
yep.
side of the family.
The deep south.
We ain't keep real close touch with them ones.
Mhm. All right. I'm glad to hear all the favorite moments. I'm not surprised to hear that many of them belong to the wizard. It's symbolic and well, it fits. It fits so many ways because this party was kind of defined by working around roles that didn't have represented. They didn't have a cleric, so they dabbled in soul selling rather than soul saving. Hey, can I get a no? So eventually, their assassin is in touch with I can't say higher power, a parallel power, because I'm not going to judge. And what I'm really saying is they felt the absence of a wizard, and I think that you've more than fulfilled. You're looking at a promotion. You're going to go places. You're going to get your own tower. It's going to be great.
Everybody loves a tower.
Right? It's where you do the research. It's where you get half off
Oh,
on
yeah.
scroll costs. Once you've paid the 20, 40 grand in gold to get it up, then you can make use of it. All right. We are in the aftermath of
Or we liberate a tower. Just saying.
That's true.
We could liberate a tower.
Right.
Eldian would be okay with blowing up some folks that are currently in quite a few towers.
Yeah, there's no shortage of people in towers. They don't need. What are they doing with all that tower? They don't need all that tower. That's too much tower for them.
I mean, the feudal system has been crushing the working class for generations in some of these areas, and I think it's about time that, we restore that wealth to the people, and I think the Flix would be a reasonable caretaker for the structure, at least, once those resources have been redistributed. Or not, whatever. We go play some D&D? Sorry.
I mean, it sounds like we're going to play some CNC. See, now I want to go off on a tear about monarchy and aristocracy and capitalism, but
Let's just assume that the Eldine and DM Asma did that off the.
Oh no, there's no shortage of references. We
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship.
I'm sure the campfire talk is extreme, no doubt. There's some impassioned.
Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses. Not some farcical aquatic ceremony.
I mean, the violence is inherent in the system, especially if y'all roll poorly on initiative. Y'all are heroes.
Or if we do well on initiative.
You're heroes. Your legend is beginning to spread. This is a bigger city. And the need was greater and immediate. And I'm glossing over the fact that you're worried about the everlasting, eternal soul of a party member and what their obligation might mean for your continued corporeal existence. But you're heroes, and you've saved Roctor. With a mighty crack, the locks are free. The last few hours have been a bit of a blur. It is afternoon. It is still warm enough. There is a light rain falling, but it is a warm autumn rain. Has not given over to any winter chills coming off of the mountains. And there is the sound of rain. There's the sound of water flowing in the gutters. And some of the streets do appear to be ankle deep in it. The ice largely was largely formed by the ambient moisture in the air, but a good deal of it came from another plane. And it's got to displace. So the locks are also a floodgate system. This is also the choke point for irrigation in the lowlands. And the sluice gates are frozen in position, and the ice is being worked off them so they can mitigate some of the flow. But downstream is definitely going to have a wet week.
Isn't Riverport downstream from Rockton?
You know it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you made a point to send word. You made a point last week to communicate and send word to them. So the city will be fine. It's going to have enough warning, and there's not instantaneous communication globally, but there are means by which the city of Riverport will be okay. There may be some flooding. The under wharf may become the soggy wharf, the soggy bottom, but they will adapt as they always do. And
We've also been heavily recruiting from the Underwharf,
you have.
so they might have more resources than, or at least more places to be besides Underwharf if needed.
Yeah, and Gromek has had at least 3 successful pop-ups down there already.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
It's an up and coming neighborhood.
It is.
Oh yes.
Who knows? They may even go condo. Oh no.
Oh, no. What about this variant on Stone Skin that was afflicting so many of the Roctorites? Are they okay, or have we done some damage by just breaking the spell so suddenly?
Well, the damage was there to be done regardless. They're not without cases of frostbite.
Okay.
There are a few lost fingers and toes. It's not pain-free, but they would rather live than be frozen in a inescapable prison of the body.
Yeah.
Weird.
Some of them didn't make it, and some of them were harvested before you got here.
Mm-hmm. There's been some shit going down in Rocktor. Yeah. This is also not the first time we have been to Rocktor.
You came to you've been here before. You came as part of the escort entourage of the then Prince Regent before his ascendancy to King of Oathland, when he was on holiday tour, goodwill tour. We're not sure. His motives were many and varied. And some of the rumors from Oathland will be discussed with you here in Rocktor.
Mm.
There are a few characters that will probably want to talk to you, but I'm more curious as to see, what are you all doing? You got a few choices. You can help with the remediation of the floodgates, help bust open the sluice gates so they can be closed and draw the water away into the cisterns and reservoirs. You can tend to the sick and wounded. You can jump into politics and go talk to the mayor. There's a mayor here too. Most cities have them. Or something else. Those are just the things that come to mind. There is a slight flooding danger here in Rocktor.
Now, if we get the locks under control, that will definitely decrease the flooding danger, right?
It'll eliminate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flix would definitely be trying to help with that.
I think
Okay.
that's where Mercala would go to.
That
I
would be
do think-
MT's vote. If somebody's going to talk to the mayor, he'll smoke it up and go with them though. So
'Cause that's how you
I
should-
do think someone should make inroads with the mayor before we start just like being the Peace Corps up in his city and help him fix the
Agree.
locks.
And I think the person for that is probably Mirkala.
Mirkala
the-
and Teller, maybe.
True, but yes, but there's a
Yeah,
lot to do.
Yeah.
We could certainly. There's people who need help. The lock's gotta be freed up though. That has to happen first.
This is one time
Um,
when it's okay to split the party and play to your strengths.
Yeah. So how do we want to split?
Excellent question. Teller walks up to Mirkala and just says, "Sister, I know you hate the politics, but everybody knows you and everybody respects you. Would you go talk to the mayor? If he lives?"
I suppose there's no harm, and we probably should find out whether or not he survived this whole ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
Without there could be unrest if he did not.
Agree. See who's alive and what resources are available.
So the good news is you learn that the dead, there's no good number that I can say, but the deaths were limited to fewer than 700.
That's pretty amazing for a devil incursion.
That's still a
The-
big number.
The
Yeah.
wounded number of 1,000 at least.
yeah.
Teller will tag empty pockets, the two of them, to start setting up aid stations. I think we're mostly the healing in the group. Flix and Auntie Eldine, you guys good to go after these locks?
Sounds good.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
And Mirkala's to be the
That's all right with me.
the face squad.
Yeah,
Um,
politics, admin.
There's
But I think Empty
One-
wanted to get high
Well-
and be the cool ne'er do well sidekick, or lurk in the background until they could say something pithy and
he is gonna ask. He's gonna like roll up to Mirkala and be like, "Do you want some help, sister? Or it could be anybody." But absolutely willing to help with aid. He can do some healing. He just no one is supposed to know who Empty Pockets actually is. So if he does that, he's going to be doing it as somebody else anyway. What so what have you guys
Yes,
think
I
is
am
most important?
Rincewind, the greatest healer in all the land.
Yes, your wounds are nauseating, but I can fix them.
Yes, we'll make this quick. I feel like I'm better served helping the people as well. But leadership is important in a time like this. Empty, I leave it to you to make your best judgment on who to bring.
My question is, do you think I'm more use here? Or do you actually need like a wingman or something?
I am struck by the thought that we are in a sudden transitional period. The usual security measures, the usual amounts of organization that might make you suspicious lurking around somewhere may not exist at this point. And you could very easily be searching for survivors or whatever while acquiring some more difficult to acquire information in
So
the
on
halls of Rockter.
where the palace was, right? Or not
like that
where the
idea.
ice palace was is basically the municipal building, right?
Yes.
I mean, more or less.
that is correct.
So we might be standing right on where the mayor and all the other politicians meet. I guess let's hasten this up a little bit. Merkala, she rides Dusk over to the
Yeah, I think
melting,
she's good.
crumbling throne, and she retrieves her magic javelin from the foot of it. And then using thaumaturgy, she calls out to the whole city.
Ooh.
The fiends have been dismissed. Wounded. The wounded, make yourselves known so we can tend to your wounds. Those who are unscathed, start tending to the wounds. I mean, something like that. She'll call out though to the whole city from on top of the
Yeah.
peninsula building.
No, totally. That's fantastic. You're tapping into your leadership. I'm gonna go
In the
ahead and
absence,
send-
in the absence of a mayor, we don't know where he is, and now he'll definitely know that we're here. So,
I sent you a persuasion check.
oh,
I also gave you inspiration for the speech if you want to
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
put that into play.
I'm
I'll send you
gonna
another.
immediately put that in the play. Yes.
Much
Oh,
better.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So people begin moving, and
You can tell she finds. You can all tell. At least you four around her can tell. She finds the idea of interacting in this capacity distasteful, and that's where she pauses for a moment.
Excellent
Yeah.
attention to detail.
Thank you, sister.
but it does seem to have the desired effect. People are motivated and mobilizing. The crew of city folk that you were hiding in the tunnel with. That's
I was just gonna say, if Morgraine
Yes.
and Williker von Willick are available, let's get them spun up. Yeah.
they are actually pointing Merkala out to somebody that, well,
Huh.
easiest way to say it is they look official. And Merkala is being approached by a rather fit, well-dressed, but displeased half-elf approaches you. What strikes you is they don't look to be very physically powerful, except that they do have some rather well-defined biceps. And as they approach you, you notice they have a couple of guards with them, including a stuffy dwarf in half-plate hauberk, who's just sort of sneering at you as they approach.
The attitude. Mm-mm.
You wished an audience with the mayor?
Merkala dismounts Dusk, and pats him on the side. He pads over to the side of the building and, for the first time ever, stretches his wings and
You
takes
take
flight.
care.
Hail, I am Merkala, head of the Bloodsong mercenaries in Margravine of the Wyvern Isles. We were passing through Rockdur on our way to meet the queen.
Oof. The dwarf isn't having any of it. As soon as you said mercenaries, just rolled his eyes. Now he's visibly scoffing. Barris,
Yeah,
just-
that's unacceptable.
Yeah, we just cleared the city of your fiend problem. I
Where were you,
expect a
brave
little bit more
dwarf?
respect.
Yesterday.
I should have enlarged your dragon for intimidation.
Was knee deep in an ice field. I'm Barris Rothflut. I'm the captain of the guard here. You are supposed to come see me first. The half-elf butts in. Please, Barris, this colorful band. They mean us no harm. They're they're here with good tidings, and with any luck, a swift departure. I'm Dasney Sintro. Yes. He's the mayor's brother. I'll take you to her, but she's down at the hospital.
Then let's
Oh.
go.
Mirkala, maybe you could put those muscles to use helping with the sluice gates. I hear there's lever work that needs doing.
That was the plan. I just wanted to make sure that the mayor was not indisposed.
She was
The
trapped.
famous warm welcome of Rockster.
Seriously.
There's a few murmurs amongst the guards as you say that, and the party is expertly separated one from the other. As Mirkala goes with a team of engineers who seem glad to have some muscle to put behind their technical means, and I believe Eldine and Dasney will immediately start triaging people in the hospital, because they are queuing up. Some of them are holding hands. A lot of it is chilblains, frostbite, contact, freezer burns. A few people, the ice was on their head so much that they're worried about their ears, and warm compresses are being applied. Minor healing cantrips are being applied. It's a lot of work, but it's more keeping people calm, and there's not really a danger of any riots or anything. Frankly, people don't have the energy for it, especially those that are fresh out of Frozen. They're just glad to have some inner peace. But the it looks like it's going to fall to Teller to go meet the mayor with somebody who is definitely not empty right now, waiting in the wings. Does that sound about right?
Certainly.
That can work. Teller had an interesting idea earlier, and I had a different idea for empty, but if this is what's going on.
It's just the scene as it's starting to develop.
Yeah.
We're about to be taken somewhere interesting, so if Empty wants to tag along until the time to disappear arises, that might work well.
Yeah, it
And
might
if
be a
you
good
wanted to
idea. I
heal
had
the
a-
sick, it makes sense that you'd go to the hospital, right?
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
So that does make sense.
What were you gonna say?
Well, okay, wait. So Teller is going to go meet the mayor.
Good.
I was going
we
to.
have been maneuvered. So yes,
Yeah.
Teller's gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, the original plan was you and I were going to do triage.
Right. Well, and I was going to take on the countenance of a very specific character I had in mind, and also like look for people. And my goal was to gather information about the mayor from people, because we want to know as much as we can going in. But like,
Mhm.
I'd be happy to go with you.
Might as well. It's
and meet
happening
the
now,
mayor.
so
I
let's
can
go
back
do it.
off. Maybe I'll just go. Should I go Nilo, or should I just go? I mean, we came from the hospital, right? So Empty is going to, unless
You
he
kind of
did
came
ask
from
if you
the.
have any suggestions.
You came from
I
the
don't.
audience chamber at the city center.
Yeah.
Same building where there's a civil court and registering of how many axles on your wagon. It's not going to call it the DMV, but the Department of Mule Vehicles.
Right.
I don't think Nilo's the guy for this
No.
scenario.
He'll fuck it up really bad, and I don't want to give him control.
He'll creep.
Well, I mean, Empty will say
everyone
that.
the fuck out.
Empty will say that. I don't think it's a good idea to give him control. I could be a healer.
You could.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
I think some old school season one empty
He's-
pockets. No one knows where he is, but he's exactly where he needs to be to hear the right thing and see the right shit. While Teller is hamming it up with the mayor's retinue or whatever, and
Being
being
loud,
that.
catching
Yeah,
attention.
call it all the attention. Well,
Empty
yeah,
pockets
empty is
is
just
not.
being empty, doing whatever empty needs to do, and the
I
party
like that
might
better
not
anyway.
kind of know.
Investigating those empty pockets that may not be empty. So
I like it better anyway.
it's
Okay.
good to see you.
Of course. Okay, so I'm gonna disappear and trail him
Okay.
as best I can.
I'm gonna you disappear, but with the mayor being on site at the hospital has a lot of guards around it. At first, people were concerned that there was a shortage of medical supplies, but seeing that some of the guards are also being treated, it puts your mind at ease. Mirkala, you immediately climb down a ladder into one of the recently drained locks that they want to use as a secondary reservoir, because the sluice gate to that reservoir is still frozen shut. So with this one, there's actually muscle work that does need doing. So I'm gonna send you an athletics check. Don't worry, I have dice rolls for everybody. This isn't as difficult. But I've always liked the idea of when you make something by 5, you get a little bit more. When you make it by 10, you get a little more. Some games write that into the rules. We've been homebrewing it that way for a while. Yeah, so you made it by 6. That's perfect.
Yeah, she removes her helmet and cloak and takes off her belt with her arsenal of weapons so she can have a little bit more freer movement, and she just gets to work whatever needs to be done. It's not exactly the same, but she's spent time on ships during her like mandatory naval service in Bazor. I mean, she knows how to get her hands dirty.
You start turning this mighty wheel, and you have help with it, but you are doing most of the work, but it's barely budging, and you hear gasps and feel a shadow fall across you. And the gasps are from the fellow engineers that you're working with, as dusk alights at the top of this gate, and leaning over the side, claws clicking on steel, breathes onto the other side of the valve, loosening it enough for it to give way. The gasps turn to joy as this gate is opened. So you're making great headway with that. Eldine and Flix, the triage is... It almost seems like order was being applied to a chaotic scene as you arrived, so you fall in to quick and ready rolls of, keeping the fire going under the trough that they're heating up water in, and putting rags and wringing them out once, dunking them again so that they are warm and not hot, and bringing those to where they can be applied. I'm sure cantrips would be of use there, but I'm thinking at least one of you should try to make a medicine check.
I don't have that as a trained skill, but
How about you, Eldine?
Nope, me neither.
Okay. No, that's even more fun.
Yeah, maybe not for these poor villagers, not villagers, townsfolk.
Do, 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 do. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
oh boy.
Okay.
I think Eldine's gonna burn a point of luck on that.
Okay, cool. I'll send you another one, because nat ones are no fun, especially when patient says, "Tell me, doc, will I ever
All
play
right,
the
that's just
violin
a
again?"
that's a regular failure. That's better than a 1.
You're not making anything worse, but right now you're just glad to be a part of the production.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have you make a different sort of check, though.
Oh, now that I can do.
Oh, wow.
That
So
we can both do.
what you notice is that there's children here, but they're in attendance with adults. And it doesn't seem that any of the children were affected. So there's some older teenagers that are worrying about flash freezing and losing Pinky from frostburn or frostbite, but it seems like it's only affecting the adults. And
Hmm.
Flix, you notice it's affecting. Maybe that's just because of the population here, but it seems to be affecting half elves even more. Could just be poor sampling data. Don't read too much into it. But you did roll really high. Yes, there's
Very
there's
interesting.
dwarves, gnomes, halflings, even a goblin and a kobold being treated. But by and large, there's a lot of half elves in this wing of the hospital, and children seem to have escaped the worst of it. Some, I mean, you know that they too must have been frozen, but they don't seem to have been harmed as much.
As much, or I mean, are there any children with frostbite or any of that, or
None that you see.
all of the children appear to be physically unharmed?
They appear to be physically unharmed. Some of them are emotional and in distress, and some of them have injuries from other things, like when the ice melted, and one of them, a shingle came down and clipped one. He's getting his head stitched up, but they don't appear to have been frozen in the same way, or they escaped the worst of it, or as Flix is starting to suspect, maybe the devils weren't interested in children.
What could their goal be?
Maybe their souls aren't as seasoned. Maybe they haven't lived long enough to see how good it is. Who knows? They're monsters from other planes. You finally come to a part where the mayor has been pulled away, and as you're looking, you struggle to see which of these people could the mayor be. Nobody seems to be dressed in any kind of official clothing. Nobody's dressed in.
What party group are you talking to right now?
You tell her,
Okay.
because you are
On
again.
the on the
Uh-huh.
on the way to wherever we were going, tell her to begin the process of drawing excessive attention to himself, pulls out his kora and begins to play a song as we're walking to wherever we're going,
Nice.
composing a ballad of the when Roctor thawed. And we'll go ahead and make it a song of rest, if that's okay, to
Oh yeah,
bring a
absolutely.
little to the people around, and just use a little light thaumaturgy. We don't need to go full Mirkala and address the city, but the neighborhood certainly. Yeah.
As your song concludes, there is some soft clapping of appreciation, some cheers, and you drew a small crowd of children that were dancing and joyful for a moment, and it was good to hear laughter and song again. And walking towards you is a rather strong-limbed half-elven woman, short silver blue hair, a teak wood complexion, piercing ice blue eyes,
Mm.
calloused hands. As she wipes the last of the blood off, you see that she was performing surgery behind a screen when you came in.
Hail, Roctor, says Teller. Mayor Centro, I presume.
Please. She takes your hand, and sure enough, her hands are calloused and strong. I'm but a simple warrior. Hail the people of Roctor for digging out of this.
Hmm.
You must be Teller. The
Well
Teller.
met. Proctor's teller today.
We will have need of song again, and the peace your song brings. Probably speed the healing of Tomas behind that screen. Icicle. It's difficult to stitch up circular puncture wounds.
I can do better than that, says Teller.
You have a gift for magic?
All tellers do, in one way or another, he says, stepping behind the screen.
When you step behind the screen, you were not prepared for the grievous wound that you see.
I.
It's
I mean, you're going to be fine.
they're unconscious. We have stabilized them, but our healing magics were limited. I'm no priest. But as she
Neither is-
says that, you see that she's wearing on a simple leather cord a wooden but painted golden sun.
Oh, we've seen this before.
It's the holy symbol of soul, the same faith that the Prince Regent shared.
Mhm.
But he had this holy symbol on his sword, and it was not painted gold. It was orichalcum and gold. If you've
And he was also
please.
half elven. There's a lot of half elven things floating around.
So are you gonna drop some of that good?
Absolutely.
The old
Let's do
cure the wounds.
I think what I have is healing word.
Okay. What
Um,
is your healing word?
my healing word is sarsaparilla, which he then pours a small glass of to pour into the man's lips. A healing tonic.
Go ahead and roll that if you wouldn't mind.
Certainly.
He's stabilized, but he's
let's
not
see.
he's not at his full capacity, and his full capacity is single digits. So anything you can
Yeah.
do will help.
That's why I would think. Oh, well,
That's perfect because that's how many hit points he
minimum of
has.
6. Okay, perfect.
His eyes open, and you see the fist-sized puncture wound just under his left breast. Seals up under the tunic. And air floods into his lung. Oh, I feel like I've got a cramp in my lung. What happened?
You had a cramp in your lung.
Is Ellen all
That's not
right? And the mayor comes over. Aja says, your wife is fine. She's with the children. They're in triage helping the others. We're glad to have you back. And she leaves to go help other people. And instantaneously, her brother seems to materialize behind the screen with you. And Dasni says, and I know she can count on your vote the next election. And leaves.
What's the mayor's first name? I didn't catch it.
Aja. AJA. Sintro, Sintro is the name of the family.
That one I got. Yeah.
And
Okay.
Dasni's her brother, Dazni. He seems better at the politicking, but she seems more real.
Yep. And hardworking. That's a nice little cure for the saltiness that Barris brought along. He's probably just embarrassed. Is what
Barris
it was.
Rothfoot, yeah, he's definitely feeling upstaged.
Yeah, quite.
No worries. Oh, so the mayor's off. He's gone.
Yeah,
Okay. Where are we? We're in the hospital area. What
Dasney
part of
says
town is this?
she'll want to share a meal with you after the sun sets, of course. Nothing
Only
fancy.
if I can prepare it.
That won't be necessary.
Hmm.
My sister, Her Honor, should be more cautious. Thankfully, she has me.
And you're delightfully dislikable.
Well, I deflect.
And I bet you genuflect too.
Oh, no. That didn't hit everybody in the family.
Well, I was hoping to speak to her now. That's not possible. Is there somewhere else I can be of the most use?
I'll let you make a persuasion check. See if you can get past the you get the feeling he's run interference for his sister a lot. That he may have a more powerful personality, but he uses it differently.
Certainly. He also, I now suddenly realize with clarity, probably knows a lot more about how this all started and what has gone down in this city. So let's focus on that with this persuasion check.
Ooh.
How about a nat 20 for 31?
Wow.
I will do my best to arrange a private audience with your. How do you wish to be referred? Party? Band?
The Bloodsong Knights will do for now. The Knights.
All right. I will see to it that you're given an audience, but please be all together. It seems inevitably when heroes are presented to those in charge, there's usually one or two missing, as we've noticed. And sometimes the silver comes up missing after that. I know we won't have that problem with your people.
And backhanded compliment. Well done, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
It would be easier for us to join together if we knew that the city was once again secure. What has happened here, and how might we go about securing it? When did things begin?
I'm not the only one that has a sister who may have outshone them. Whereas I'm not jealous. Others might be. You should probably talk to some of the council.
Council. Thank you.
And in the hospital, Empty, you're observing. You've gone exploring. This hospital used to have another floor over the Great Hall where they're triaging everyone, and you can see the empty spaces, the stones that aren't in place of this stone building, where timbers and rafters for the second floor once stood, and you've climbed up into this negative space to give you a better understanding of the layout.
That tracks.
And in doing so, you noticed one person seems to be going about with a little more energy, a little more. Well, before I use any more adjectives, I'm going to have you make ye old perception.
Perception.
Check. Or insight, your choice.
I'm gonna say perception.
Talking about a 15. Okay.
All right, that'll work.
They're the first person that seems to be showing off any of their station, as they still have their council tabard on. But it may just be that they didn't have time to take it off and change into more appropriate garb. But the way they're moving, you read them. They're moving as if they feel guilty. The way somebody who's been
Interesting.
slacking for a while suddenly looks very, very busy when the boss is around.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of energy. They're
Mhm.
they're
Oh, yeah.
definitely displaying that, and they're going to talk to Eldine. So anytime people are within proximity of Eldine or Flix, you're a little more alert. Maybe
Mhm.
count your arrows just in case.
Yeah, yeah. This is true.
And this half elf is, you wouldn't have thought him a half elf at first, except as he leaned over to pick up the rags that have cooled, you did see the slightest point in the ear. It's not as strong. And he introduces himself. Oh, I'm Ramlin. I'm glad
What
to
was
be
that?
of help. Or Ramlin. ORA.
Oren.
Here, I'll drop some names in Yon chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Ramblin'.
And you're one of the heroes. Came from Riverport, defeated the devils and those who summoned them.
Are looking to be heroes, passing through town and, well, help put some things to rest that need to put to rest. You know anything about any of that?
And he immediately, you see his throat shakes and his eyes wash over with tears he's struggling to hold back. I do. And I'm sorry. I'm
Is
sorry.
there
I'm sorry. I'm just
grab
sorry.
him by the, I don't think we need to deal with this out here with all these folks, do you? And look to see if there's a broom closet, alcove somewhere.
There's absolutely a private area if you wish to funnel him. And you see that Eldine immediately goes into mode. Flix, you notice Eldine's talking to somebody. But you're
Empty is gonna
You're busy as
be
well.
in that room or whatever it is. If not before, then simultaneously.
No,
well,
whatever.
there's one remaining
Or
beam
unless I can see.
that connects. You
Okay.
could totally just
Great,
Does,
I'll
across
stay
that
up here
beam.
then. That's perfect.
does Flix notice Eldine like funnel him away to somewhere else, or
I'm hoping you do, because Eldine wasn't trying to be secretive.
Wasn't
but
trying to be secretive, but more trying to get him moving out of here before he has a whole breakdown and we have chaos in this hall.
But I can't help your dice
Yeah.
rolls.
you know what? I've got inspiration to burn. Let's
There
do
you
it.
go. That's the spirit.
There it is. Wow.
I'm gonna need an
Just
The
acrobatics
dice.
check.
the
She was
dice have
right behind
spoken.
you. She was right behind you. You turned to help someone.
You know how the Fey folk are. ADD moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
big time.
and she's just gone.
I mean, they're fickle foes when squirrel. Well, I like this too because it allows for Empty to basically hear
Mhm.
this as well. And he pushes the tears out of his eyes, chokes it back. Listen, I'm filled with shame and regret. A few weeks ago, my sister came back to Rockter After an extended absence, she'd been gone a couple years. We lost touch. She used to send us letters every new moon. Then it was once a season. And I was quite surprised to see her. The light, the lantern under the door to her old room. I knocked. She was there. She wasn't alone. She was different. Now she's dead. And I can't even be mad at you for killing her. It's an oversimplification to say she was mixed up with the wrong crowd. That she got in over her head. And I'm just filled with self-loathing at this point. I couldn't reach her. I didn't try enough.
Well, sounds like she made a pact with power bigger than anything you could have hoped to come up against. So, do you have any idea why she would have been falling in with such a rough crowd, so to speak? Or
Well, she strayed from the path, and he holds a small brass sun on a chain. She strayed long ago. It wasn't for her. She tried to find her way in nature. She took to drink when she was of age with an impressive zeal. She gave that up too. She was a dabbler. Anything she was into, it never took. She never stayed with it. She was different when she came back. Listen, I'm afraid to go back home. She came with this chest. And she summoned a demon to guard it. This was weeks ago. I'm just gonna help these people until I collapse. It's the only thing I know how to do now.
let's maybe see if we can't get you a cup of soup or tea and a cot somewhere. How about me and my friends go take a look at this trunk and see if we can't help get you out from under this? Because I can't imagine how guilty you must feel, but this wasn't your fault. This was bigger than you or her.
Just in case, do I get the impression he's being 100% sincere?
Aha! That's the insight check. He was
Only
moving
Flix had
about.
paid attention, detect thoughts.
He was moving in a guilty fashion before, but after having heard that, you can hear the source of the guilt. He doesn't
Right.
seem to be telling any lies. His body language certainly isn't, and his voice didn't have any of the signs of lying, nor his face, which you have a good view of. You
So
could put an
either he's
arrow
real
right
good
between his
or
eyes
he
if you wanted
believes
to,
what he's saying.
or he's a really, really good liar.
Yeah, either he's a very, very good liar or
Really
he-
good, because that was a 20, but that's what I expected, to be honest, but it's empty pockets. You don't trust nobody.
Understandably.
No, and LD1 planning on hustling off to this mess alone like this is a horror movie. This was he doesn't need to deal with this if we can't get him arrested. Yeah, let the rest of the party know when we get the chance.
Okay.
Investigate. Because
I-
Seems likely to be related.
I
Yeah,
feel
the-
like there's a beautiful moment for a cinematic scene right here where Teller overconfidently swaggers up to Flix and says, I think we need to look at the city council. Just as Eldine and a council member wearing his tags comes walking out of the door and he's like, oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, more of your
And he's
Stuff.
he's a little shaken up, and they'll be like, "Hey, Teller, could we get a cup? What would you like?"
Oh, yeah. No, he's already pouring. This fellow looks like he could use something stronger.
and anything would be fine. Apple brandy.
Certainly. Yep.
And he reaches
Spiced in the style of Northern Riverport.
and he reaches with a hand that looks like it's come from comfort, but moneyed. Thank you.
Teller. Oh, can I do this? Yeah, Teller. I'm gonna go ahead and just read the scene. Do I need to make a roll for that? That Eldine has been talking to this gentleman. They've been having a conversation. They clearly are in the midst
Well,
of some
we just came
conversation.
out of a
Came
room
out of
together.
a private room together.
and I'm trying to provide him comfort. So we've been talking. I don't think anyone besides probably Empty was privy to any part of that conversation, what we had talked
that sounds
about.
about right.
But you can see that we're somewhat familiar. And I'm
In
trying.
that case, and I see his councilman's badge. Go ahead and take the Flix route and cast Detect Thoughts.
And what are the
Sweet.
components of detect thoughts?
An excellent question. Let's see.
It
As
is
if it's- Go ahead.
verbal, somatic, and material.
Yeah, the somatic is what'll give it away.
Well, the victim will know that you're probing anyway.
I don't know if I care.
I don't know why you would care.
Yeah.
I
love
don't-
it.
I don't
I-
think I do. Teller will, in fact, introduce himself to this gentleman and
Yeah,
say,
he's
terrible
already in a place
shit
of
has
vulnerability. I love
happened in
this.
your town. I'm going to look into your mind, says Teller, and
All
cast
right.
Detect Thoughts.
He's coming to grips with a sudden grief and a lot of guilt. His thoughts are
Ooh.
that his sister, a warlock, who bound herself to the
And wasn't very good at it.
and bound herself to the rulers of Stygia and has been recently dispatched by you. Who got the killing blow?
On her?
There was two
I
killing
think it was-
blows.
I know. I don't.
I
even know
did with
either.
the javelin, and then
Mirkala?
she
Yeah.
popped back up, and then she kind of. I think Dusk got the last bite, and then she was like, "Peace
Oh.
out," and fluttered away. Is
Yeah.
what I recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She pieced out at the very end.
Yeah, it's he's worried about the city, but less. There's some guilt over the family name.
He's heartbroken.
He is.
He's devastated. Okay.
Really want to know if there are other council members that are compromised, but he might not even know. And I'm not the one reading his thoughts.
And based
gonna
on the
shut up.
story,
He doesn't seem
right there,
compromised.
he's not compromised.
No, he's not.
just
I mean,
he's
his sister was.
connected.
I'm wondering if other council members have, because we've already been prepared to expect that those in control, in a broader sense than like one person theoretically, could be
Mhm.
problematic at this point.
Certainly.
It doesn't seem like
Certainly.
the mayor is on the surface, so
No, and the
hopefully-
mayor's brother specifically alluded to a councilwoman's sister that we should look at. So this is lining up as it has been presented to us. It's
Oh,
just not
this is
inconsistent.
the council. This is the councilman who was outshined by his sister.
Yeah.
But that was the fact that Dasney was revealing that he knew this family secret that is crushing Omlarin.
Certainly.
I'm sorry, Oramlin.
Oh,
We
Ramlin.
didn't get. Did you get a sense of how much he knew?
Not much. Basically, what he told
Like-
Not
us.
much.
Yeah, I mean,
his
he
si-
knew
his
the
sister
family
came back
secret,
changed.
but
Oh, of Dasney, how much he knew. He,
Yes.
I think we can safely assume, knows more than he is willing to tell anyone
Yeah.
with a 31 persuasion check. So
yeah,
he's
the one we
very
need to-
circumspect.
Yep.
Yeah. And we got a
I'm-
meeting with him later, so no worries there.
Which
I'm
I
curious.
also feel like it's kind of sus. He's like, oh no, you don't worry about cooking. Oh, make sure the entire party is there. It's
Yeah.
like, man, this feels trap. This smells
Yeah,
like a
trap.
trap.
Mhm.
I need some red wedding up in this. What is this? No.
I am curious, when Teller was detecting thoughts, did he get any glimpses of like what that chest looks like that is
Mm.
being guarded by a demon? And is it really a demon or is it a devil? Because we've been dealing with devils mostly.
Right. Exactly.
He may not know the difference.
His mind is,
Well,
is latched on to demon, and there is one thought before the spell ends that goes across your mind is maybe the money inside can answer some other problems.
Yeah,
Mm.
but wasn't he? He seemed almost willing to
Hmm.
give up the location of that chest.
He just wants to
Willingly.
go home.
Yeah,
But
right.
he's
Yeah.
terrified.
But he's
because that's
terrified.
there. So
So yeah,
So I
I'm
think
like,
he would let Eldine deal with it and probably just tell her where it is. That's the vibe I was getting. I don't know about the rest of you.
no, I think so, but that's for Tom to say.
It's in the basement of the family manor, just beyond the storerooms.
Teller says
He
"Please
dropped a
take us
pin and a
there."
map for me. Yeah.
Yeah, please take us there. And he puts
Okay,
a
empty
comforting
shoots him and
hand
goes
on-
there. No, just kidding.
God damn it.
puts a comforting hand on his shoulder and says, "The money of devils is not to be trusted. But we can help you if there are problems that can be bought."
I wonder how much
I'm-
my sister's soul was worth. And his thoughts darken as the spell ends.
Hmm. Well, that's going badly inside of that head.
You've been putting in a few hours of physical work. The sluice gates have been repaired, Mirkala. You have won over the trust of the engineers, who even say, well, you should come back, and you know how we get the boats up here. We basically haul them with chains. You could probably do that. You're never going to have to buy a drink in this town again. What can we get you?
If possible, as soon as the river's moving, Merkala's gonna throw her naval knowledge into use and start getting boats through, and she'll use thaumaturgy again to guide them through the icy. I'm sure there's still ice flows and things in the river, and she'll start guiding them. Yelling out to the boats too. She wants to get shit moving, but she will. She will thank them for the offer. However, she has to meet with Witch Queen.
I'm I got a date with the Witch Queen in another city. Well, you could have been like, I got to go rap with the mayor about a few things, but different town, different mayor. How you feel about persuasion check?
I'll try it.
What would be a better expression of your particular leadership style?
Well, in this case, I think it would be persuasion, but because I'm using my background naval knowledge, could I have advantage on it?
Sure.
I mean, I'm used to sailing the sea, so it's totally fair if the rivers are beyond me.
No,
but-
no, they're definitely applicable. It's just a little tougher, but yeah, go for it. I'm gonna send that to you. Make sure to click that advantage button so you get twice the die rolls with every click.
Excellent.
You're able to direct traffic, and you realize that some of the smaller boats can be, well, I wouldn't say crowded in, but the locks can hold more than they usually allow for. And in the interest of getting late shipments and supplies, and there does appear to be a wharf full of crates. Looks like healing potions. So you're able to expedite those coming into town.
Because they're needed.
That was one of the things that the ice, the rime fire explosion, as it will come to be known. One of the things it did was destroy a lot of potions. That's why they couldn't rely on them in the triage in the numbers that they were used to. The engineers say, "No, nothing like this has ever happened. We've never had the locks freeze over instantaneously, so we're going to need to run a full test of the systems after the fall rains. See if there's any other leaks we haven't seen today. Ice is pretty horrible for roads. Imagine what it'll do to this." So they still have some long-term concerns, but you appear to have mitigated the worst of it and offered a bit of relief. You're heading in the right direction.
They keep calling us heroes. There's only one hero in this party. Rest of us is folks. There's only one hero.
Flicks and folks, is that what we're saying? Flicks and the folks?
Oh, I'm saying Mirkala.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who's the hero?
Flix is
I got
Flix
it.
is a badass. Mirkala is the only hero here.
And I'm sure with all the noise she's making and dusk flying overhead, the rest of the party will have no problem locating Merkala.
No, she's definitely stuck out. And one of the guards comes down to where you are and says, "Lady Merkala?"
Please, it's just Merkala.
He bows twice and then says, "Do I bow?"
Here I am just the captain of a mercenary company.
The mayor would like to take supper with you. And your henchmen and hench ladies, your hench folk, your henches, your people,
My companions.
companions. So tall. Okay, this way.
I'm famished.
So despite Roctor being a larger, richer, all around bigger city than Riverport, the mayor is making use of a small dining room in the hospital itself, where simple dishes are there. They are pewter and wood. There are not a lot of embellishments, and the well-made but worn benches and table that you sit on and at speak to a humility you did not expect from the mayor of Roctor. And going into this chamber, you notice there are some folks from the council. You've learned over the course of the day that the council is 7 members strong, and including Oramlin, there are 4 here. So yes, 3 are missing, but it doesn't seem to be causing anybody else any concern. It's not an official meeting where the whole council needs to assemble. The mayor is here, of course. Her brother is over by the stove, motioning for Teller to come over, and says, I was a ship's cook for a while. I might be able to assist. Tell me what needs doing. And you look around the stores that are there. There are scallions, garlic, some hard cheeses, a few shanks of seasoned goat, and one half of a ham.
Perfect. If there are dried grains, then this is a perfect opportunity for a risotto and a stewed goat. Let's go about it.
Right. Let's see. We've no risotto, but we have some barley.
Perfect. Hearty will suit the goat better than the rice ever would.
So he begins rinsing the barley. He's got a little sieve, and although you're glad for an extra set of hands in the kitchen, you realize he's also serving.
Does he know the kitchen dance? Yeah.
He's also serving as a bit of a spy. And,
Oh, certainly.
And at first, you're not sure how to think about that. I mean, you I don't tell you how to feel.
I know exactly how to think about that. Rockter is a military town. They are very practical. Since the moment they were thawed and moving around, they were suspicious of us. Maybe we caused this. Maybe we swept in at the end to try to claim the glory and have undue influence on Rockter. This is all just straight politics, and we won't be playing into it, and that's fine.
And
I'm assuming I had no trouble getting in there.
no, not at all.
I'm just lurking about. Okay.
You could pick your seat.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I should be unknown still.
Okay.
If I was getting in and picking a seat, I would have to pose as Rincewine, because that's the only character I've played that's known to be with these folks at these sort of occasions.
That's true.
But if I could just get in there and
Parties.
climb up somewhere and sneak around and stake out the whole place, and especially watch those council members, that's what I'm going to be doing.
The council members seem to be talking amongst themselves as not necessarily sinister, but cliquish.
Oh, I want to listen to that.
Give you a chance to here in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
But
Good man.
giving voice to the exact things that Teller said, or that Arthur said, I should say. Barris Rothfoot, Captain Barris Rothfoot, is not 2 sips into his beer before he says, I heard about what you did in Riverport. And at Molly's Shore. Some folks say you drew the attention of a dragon. You're the reason those farmers are dead. What do you say to that? And Aja looks up from her meager meal where she's just been, or meager portions of a fine meal, I should say, where she's just been listening, and just gives the captain a look. And he says, those are rumors I was hoping you could dispel.
Okay, MT shoots him and goes for the chest. Oh, wait.
I'm gonna hit him right in his traitorous heart.
Wow.
That didn't take long.
Are we all assembled now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're in the same. You're you're in the room where it happened.
We're all in the dining hall, and Empty's skulking about in the corners.
In the rafters of the dining hall.
being empty.
If there are rafters, that's where I am, as close
Yep.
to those.
It's like a
Council
cat,
members
just
as I
as
can.
high up
Yeah.
and tucked away as he could get.
Well, some cats are more bush cats rather than tree cats.
That is true.
And honestly, he's more like a spider in a way.
There we go.
He's,
I think that's accurate.
he's more like the omitted scene from The Exorcist.
Teller pauses in the silence after that staticky moment there between the mayor and the captain of the guard, and opens with the traditional beginning of a Taurosian tale of the royalty. You must remember, he says, that this story is true in the way that all stories are true. But you'll have to decide for yourself, he says, looking pointedly at the captain of the guard, if this one actually happened. And he then proceeds to tell the story of the Queen of Tauros, who was met by envoys of all of the surrounding kingdoms and met them with such suspicion that she turned every opportunity for trade and collaboration into bitter enemies in every direction from their tiny island. And how it took Tauros 100 years to recover from that. And it should mix in a few references to dwarven ales and that were imported, and to the beards of the Oathlanders and their glory. He says, looking askance, in a playful way, looking askance at Roth's beard. And it starts the tone serious, but the further he progresses in the story makes it more humorous and absurd, until by the end of it, it's in the form of a comedic story. It's now a joke story, told amongst friends over a warm meal. And then at the end, he just stops at the traditional ending point, or so I've been told, he says. He says that dragon would have murdered every one of those villagers for their meager coins. We skinned it and sent its head to its mother.
Merkala holds up its claw.
There's a few gasps from the council. Even Dasney looks over. You get a not bad face from the mayor's brother. The mayor's expression hasn't changed. She was attentive and listening.
Merkala says to the mayor, the Bloodsong Knights will be here in a few days to shore up any security issues you may have after this event.
The captain of the guard can't
with
resist a scoff.
Yeah, with a pointed look at him. Free of charge, of course, to you and your city.
Thank you. That will help to put people at ease. Anytime there are tragedies and there are questions, people can turn on each other and look to those in charge for guidance and answers. I don't have all the answers. Our resources are considerable. We shall apply them to the healing. And when she says the word healing, she can't help but look at Oranlin. Like, she knows the secret too, but you notice that he's kind of being excluded by the council folk, not overtly, but they're not cliquish with him. It's as if he's persona non grata, like he's been cut out of this for some reason.
He's tainted.
He barely eats. And says, thank you. I'm going to go check on the others. And the mayor closes her eyes for a moment and bows in a cat-like gesture of acknowledgement and trust. And Oramlin goes back to the triage center. Some of the council folk take their leave, and the party diminishes in numbers until it is just the mayor, her brother, and the captain of the guard. And you four.
Quick point of order.
Hmm?
So Empty's been listening to and watching
Thank
the
you, thank
council
you.
members
Yes.
since before the banquet or Teller's story or anything even started.
Totally, yeah. I'm
So,
gonna give you two
anything
perception
of note
checks.
up in there?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm hoping you heard everything because
Word.
I wanna share some more of this. They didn't know they were observed, but there was a lot of background chatter. So piecing out what you heard will still come down to dice, and you made both checks, so I will tell you.
Sweet.
One of them kept saying, well, we don't have anything like that in my family. You know, that's a horrible family secret that everyone knows. And I know that he won't be on the council next year. Those sorts of things. Another council member, and one of them just seems to be the go-between that everyone's gossiping with. He didn't really say much, just listened. But one of the other council members, she says, well, it doesn't look good for those that weren't in attendance tonight. Maybe this cabal is more than just one. No, that's silly. It's just her. So they seem a little suspicious of themselves, of the rest of the council,
Each other, yeah.
of each other. They don't seem to have a concerted, unified agenda of their own.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's easy to
So
look
there's
for
this-
deception when you've been betrayed.
Yeah.
Trust
They're
issues.
suspicious of each other. They're all suspicious of those that did not show up
Yeah.
tonight. Who do I hear anything else about those folks? The missing council members that would be noteworthy?
Well, more that one of them says, oh, well, Doris isn't here, of course. Her husband was one of the frozen and exploded when the devils first showed. She couldn't be expected to be here. Oh, well, yeah, Doris is going to retire anyway. Doesn't really have a place. Is that all? And then they start bickering amongst themselves. Like, is that all you see? Is the politics in this? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a lot of bickering and infighting, and maybe even a little bit of, I don't know, Midwest nice.
Yeah.
But not
okay,
any
what
overt
about
backstabbing, but they're just saying that it doesn't look good for those that didn't show, and that maybe they can use that to further their own political aims.
Mm-hmm.
But they just seem to be
So
bickering
these-
low tier politicians.
They also seem a little on the paranoid side.
Maybe.
yeah,
We could
specific question. They all seem paranoid, bickering, petty. For any of them, does that seem like an act? Like, is there any of them that I feel is just playing the others totally full of shit? Can I insight check this posse or
Yeah,
something?
I'll drop the insight on you. What else were you gonna say, Azadam?
I
There
was gonna
was the
say,
quiet one.
if we so wanted to, we could play them against each other. Flix does have the ability to
Eldine likes that plan.
be telepathic and implant voices in people's heads. And since he doesn't speak very much, they wouldn't know it's his voice.
I like
I
that.
think just
Right now,
question.
he doesn't know that this is going on.
Right,
though.
right now he doesn't know.
but in the
Yeah.
future, yeah. I love that idea.
No, they're genuinely petty, empty.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and
I mean, one of
the
them could be
pettiness-
part of the cabal and just brave enough to show up and play the game.
No, it's
but
nervous
I don't think so.
titters, and they're all
So
trying to
Yeah.
leverage it however they
far.
can until they
So-
because right now it's
Mhm.
it's not coming down on anyone's head or
I had to
anything.
ask.
We don't know who's responsible yet, so everyone's trying to just leverage it until
Except for her.
until
but it's
facts
gonna
come
be-
out. Yeah.
It's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
However, when she saw us, she greeted us as if she expected more of her master's followers to show up. I mean,
There
Yeah,
was that.
they were waiting for someone in particular.
Yeah.
She's here amongst us.
It
Um,
it also appears that the council may know that Aramlin's sister was a warlock that was ultimately responsible for the gateway to Stygia being opened,
Mhm.
It does seem like a pretty open secret.
but they don't
Okay.
know about the demon guarding a chest in the family's manor house basement.
mm,
Nobody said anything about that. And the way
Yeah, we could learn some things from said demon, perhaps.
they said cabal, it wasn't so much conspiratorial as branding. Like they were
Mhm.
looking for a buzzword to maybe like maybe the whisper campaign's already in place to put
Oh
somebody
yeah.
more sympathetic to their aims in place of Oramlin in the next political cycle.
Like big
Fantasy
scare quotes around
McCarthyism.
Cabal.
Right. Can't
It's like
have
Mhm.
for real.
hmm
Can't have
Right,
council
it's
members
like
that are
a-
parts of cabals.
no,
Right, right.
no.
What's
So
next?
wait, there's
Heathens?
seven total council members, 4 were here.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yep.
That leaves 3 others.
And one Doris.
Doris, her husband.
3
was
others and Doris
injured,
is
right?
out.
Yeah.
Doris is out.
Doris's husband was one of the
Um,
700 dead, so
Uh-huh. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
is there a moment where Teller feels like he could talk to Aha and or Dasney at the same time, with a private question? Or is this room quite small?
no, the room's big enough, and quite conveniently, Aja comes over to
Aja.
help and starts, washing dishes. And the two of you are over in the kitchen area, and the noise generated from plates and forks and such should be enough to cover any prying ears.
Mhm. A funny thing happened on the way to Rockter, starts Teller. We met 3 Deathlocks and 2 Doom Chickens.
Agents of Hell.
One of the Deathlocks gave us an interesting story before we sent him home. A centuries-old contract between certain princes of hell and your mortal sovereigns. That this was oh crap, what was the word?
Sanctioned hunt.
A sanctioned hunt.
I don't understand the designs of hell.
I understand contracts. Who would that be with? Centuries old.
One
Who
of the
could promise Rockter centuries ago?
Rockter was an independent city before the founding of the kingdom. I'm sure the Witch Queen will want to hear of this.
We were on our way to tell her. We got waylaid by some hoarfrost.
The Rime Fire, they're going to call it.
Rhine fire. I like the sound of that.
You're not
You'll
what I
be all right
expected.
here. You are not either. Do you know the mayor of Riverport?
We've met
Think
a
you'd
few
like him.
times.
Mhm.
He seems
We'll
to be a
leave
good
soon.
man.
I would agree.
Drink a little less.
Well, I said the same. We'll be out of your hair soon. Your captain of the guards pointing his swords in the wrong direction. We're just a distraction at this point.
His
We'll keep
bluster
the bl-
sometimes brings comfort to the people.
we can have the Bloodsong Knights camp outside of the city to avoid any appearance of conflict.
This isn't an enemy or a criminal we can put in the stocks and throw rotten produce at. I'm not sure how to heal the wound to the public trust. The people will talk. Ultimately, they will blame me. And if there was some pact promising the city's people, then I have failed them. But I will work to regain that trust. And I am glad to have broken bread with you today.
It's a pleasure, Mayor. And they'll pink soapy wine glasses together. Pink.
I look forward to your return to this city when we can offer you more hospitality.
Warmer than this, says Taylor? I cannot imagine such a thing.
We might even have a tablecloth. She grins.
At that, Taylor begins to sing a work song that he learned doing dishes in the kitchens of the court of Toros.
Right. So I'm not going to say the party winds down because it wasn't much of a party. And I can't remember if this is the third or fourth time you've had a meal with a mayor. But I think
At least the third.
it's
but
third or
only two
fourth.
At
mayors.
least the third.
Yeah.
It's all, yeah,
Keeps happening.
Only 2 mayors so far.
so far.
They
Were
both
there-
seem all right.
Were there any other leads you wish to chase down as players? Any? I mean, if there's information you wish to gather, I want to make sure I provide an opportunity for all that.
There is library work to be done. I think the Capitol is probably the place for that.
But we need to
Um,
check out this trunk, right? I mean,
correct.
Yeah, check out the
That
trunk
needs to be
and
followed up on.
I'd like to check out the 2 council members that remain potentially suspect.
Okay.
Also, Ramlin seems to be in a very short downward spiral.
Yeah.
But he's also potentially a very important piece of this. Right? He
Yeah,
has
may need to
personal
keep it
knowledge.
protected.
Yes. And
He'd
the
be a
fact
good
that his
person to
sister
ask
is
about
now
those 2
among
council members too.
the sister's now among the undead and might not be might not have any qualms about using her brother from beyond the grave for any type of and in his grief I think he
Yeah.
should be warned.
Yeah.
protected. Yeah.
Protected, and we need to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
He's easily manipulated.
More
right
than
now.
one
Yeah,
reason.
for real.
And he's broken enough to do some proper dumb shit at this point. So
He
Yeah.
could be manipulated into necromancy or any other number of soul-wrenching things.
Lots
Yeah,
of bad juju he could go for at this
Yeah,
point.
and-
All kind of bad juju. He might think is a good plan.
And Roctor is lawful neutral and a little grumpy about it, is the best way to describe the city overall. And the mayor's concerns are absolutely valid, that the public trust is damaged, that the powers that be weren't able to keep the city safe. Now granted, yeah, it was an extra planar incursion because of some ancient pact that you still are sussing out the second season plot about. And it's it could be revealed, but you're on the right trail.
Makala gives the mayor a final warning. First she
Excuse me?
first
this
she
is your final
And
word.
then
First
Nancy
she
shoots her
says-
and goes for the chest.
yeah,
Sorry.
it was she says it's a pleasant surprise. many politicians seem to be playing games for which I care not to know the rules of. However, I can see that you are working for the people. You need to stay vigilant as the diabolists we dealt with. She when she addressed us, it made us it seemed like there could be more among your numbers. Also, things do not bode well for Cleria right now. There's liches and elder dragons in the lakelands and Roktors in a weakened state, so you must stay vigilant. Please do not take it as slight or insult that I'm bringing my forces here. I just feel that in its weakened state, it could be vulnerable to other types of attack from other evils.
You're muted, Tom.
Thank you. Your mercenary company, you've recruited them from people in Riverport?
Yes. From all walks of life.
They are Calarians. Their presence outside these walls. Dasni, see to it that a proper message of comfort is given to the papers. Let the people know that help is there should they just ask.
My first lieutenant, Larntor Nakias, will be leading them. You'll know her as the Knight of the Horns.
We shall watch for her banner. Thank you.
This is 100% going to be a fantastic recruiting opportunity in Roktor, though.
Honestly, Roktor's a better city to start a mercenary company in because there's a lot of people that have already cycled through the military life, and
Yep.
yeah.
And the city just took a hard punch in the face, and we just showed up as the ones to settle things down. I think the Bloodsong Knights ranks might swell.
Quite possible. I'm just thinking, is there a magazine, like Fighter of Fortune instead of Soldier of Fortune?
An excellent idea. We need a publishing wing.
Bi-monthly Fighting Man.
Yeah, but nice.
Sword enthusiast.
Armor class and you. How to get the most out of what you're wearing.
Dragon Magazine. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I just remembered an article name called "How Heavy Is My Giant," where there was charts to calculate how much a giant weighed based. Oh, I love the minutia.
Yeah, we got to deal with that chest, and we got to take care of Oranlin.
So the rest of you don't realize that Empty has snuck off into the night, followed one of the council members, listened in a little more as they passed by a missing council member's home. A light was still on in the window,
I was literally going to say that.
affording an opportunity to creep in and have a peek. And as you look in that window, you see older, late middle-aged, 50s, tough to tell, it's dark. They're writing by candlelight, but they're writing with some haste. And they finish their inkwell and leave to go and fetch a fresh one. And it gives you a chance to look.
Yeah, I need to read that.
It says.
Hey, alright, that.
It
This
says.
book, alright.
Make another perception check.
Alright, of course it does.
This one's gonna be a little tougher.
What's that? What's that
Tell
say?
you right now. You're reading upside down and backwards.
Yeah, is probably not good enough.
It is not.
I'm gonna
I have an
go inspiration
inspiration if
then.
you'd like it, or you got your
I think
own.
I have
Okay.
one. Yep, I have one. Boom, blew it.
Right.
That was a bad roll. There we have it.
There
How
we
about that?
go.
The council will fall. Pick out the word regret to inform. The pact has been fulfilled. You were right. I shall meet up with you. You can't see because the paper's curled, and you see the word Teldestrano. The city of alchemists beyond Riverport. A name that has come up many times.
And
I can
has
tell
ties to a
Destrano
certain
less and
lich,
less.
right?
So not everybody on the council is on the up and up. You can't tell if they're up to some corruption related to the devils, or if this just threw a wrench
Their own
into
corruption.
into other
No.
plans they had in motion. But they appear to be reaching out to somebody they're going to meet in Teldestrano at some point in the future. So you were
Is
able to
there
read
anything else noteworthy in this room while I have a second in here?
a little bit more finery, not understated. You can tell that the mayor, being a pious soldier of the sun,
Mhm.
I think the 2-word description I wrote for her was a fighter who could pass for a paladin, but is religious and not magical. But here, there just seems to be a lot more finery. The lamp is silver and crystal. This appears to be a nice part of town.
Mhm.
And they've come back with the ink pot, and you Batman up against the wall.
Sure.
And you hear them grumbling as they finish the letter. Devils take you, Malagar, you prick. He rolls up the scroll.
Oh,
That's the last thing you heard. We've got some great stuff to look forward to next week. We're gonna go check out that manor. We're gonna do a wellness check on Oramlin, see how he's doing. See the town in a new light, and see the town with a new level.
oh,
I don't give 3 sessions, 4 or 5 sessions of back-to-back fights without giving you a break eventually. So yeah, we'll level up between
appreciate that.
sessions, and we'll go at this demon with a renewed vigor and maybe some new class abilities. All right. So I'm going to start dropping some thanks. Let's do highs and lows from your character's point of view tonight. So we'll start this time with Flix. Tell us your high and low, and then pick your victim while I send out some thanks.
I enjoyed the dinner party, even though Flix didn't get to perceive the little bickering back and forth. I thought that was really interesting. So, yeah, that was probably my high for the night. The low was probably getting 2 terrible rolls, trying to notice for what was his name? Oramlin?
Mhm.
Yeah, being scurried away by Eldine. The dice just sometimes don't agree with that narrative. And we'll move it on to Empty Pockets.
Man, there were a lot of good moments. In my notes, I wrote "Tell our tales, a tale of Tauros."
Nice.
The moment, and especially the crescendo at the end, was pretty fabulous, man. That was a high. That, I mean, and also I gotta say, I mean, it's either that or Mirkala absolutely crushing, like, let's get this, unclogged, let's get these ships moving, let's get this ice out of the way, let's fucking do this, and rolling up her sleeves and getting it done was
Like
very, very cool.
single-handedly starting the whole
Yeah.
city. It's here we
Like, I
go.
got this. I got this, you idiots.
Not single-handedly. Dusk was absolutely there.
Oh,
for a
that's true.
solid and dramatic
true.
assist.
Lowe's, man, I don't know. I mean, even this, bomb that's been dropped at the end is kind of a mixed bag. It's, I mean, Malagar, you prick. So the enemy of my enemy, et cetera, et cetera. But like, it's a reminder that we in deep, kids. We in deep, and if there's a low, it's probably that. Because
Gotcha.
and
It shouldn't be a surprise that the Lich has agents in this city as well that are placed within government. It seems
No.
to be his shtick.
right, and it's expected, but it's like,
It's
How-
getting real.
I like, yeah, how wide is this web? Wider, so that's that, and we're gonna kick it off to LD. What you got, Sandy?
Yeah, high and low for Eldine. I think the high point for Eldine was managing to make contact with Ramlin and get him into the other room and get a quiet moment, get some information, and not have that be a whole scene in the middle of the triage floor. But also to get some connection and get some info. The low for Eldine is also right, that mic drop at the end, this bigger plot, and Tel Destrano is back up in the mix, and seeing once again how this ties back to that prick Malagar. And
We don't need
Yeah.
any more pawns on the board, damn you!
Quest log full.
yeah, no, I think that that was the low for me. Who's left? Arthur, your turn.
My high was probably also the dinner party. Those moments throughout this campaign have kind of been opportunities for Teller to shine, and I never know what's going to happen when we go into them. And Teller feels way more capable and charismatic than Arthur is, so it's nice to kind of ride along. And this one wasn't necessarily like this one wasn't super dramatic, but it was strong. Like we settled into our position a little better, I think, with that. For my low, I think the reception we received from everyone but the mayor. We've been here before as heroes. They know us. Teller does that everywhere he goes. Tells the stories of Mirkala and the Bloodsong Knights and the Underworld Irregulars. Like, he's going full Bene Gesserit, like sewing their tales through everywhere that they go. They knew us before this, and we still got the cold shoulder. Not only from the captain of the guard, but also the mayor's brother. And I understand that it was not personal for either one of them. It was much more professional, but it was unfortunate. And honestly, with Teller's new influence in his life, his new family member, he might be thinking more along the lines of potentially influencing Rokter to be a little more friendly towards the Bloodsong Knights and towards the Underworld Irregulars, because that's a bit disrespectful.
Yeah, I was just random note for Teller and Empter. The
Teller.
Empter's really good at manipulating people too, and would be especially good at like taking on a persona and going into the alleyways and the sewers and the whatevers of Rokter and being a part of that campaign. He's really good at that stuff.
Yeah,
It's something that we haven't really considered, but if we're doing like this Benny Gesserit level campaign,
That's not
we should talk about
necessarily
that in
something
game.
that Teller is comfortable with, but it's certainly how his thoughts are turning. Yeah.
I think they should have a little side scene.
But
or
we know
something.
Flix is comfortable with it.
100%. That's his whole bag. That's his whole bag, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably it. Is that everyone? Did we run that down?
I
Nick.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
mean, high point. It was probably. I'm torn between Eldine taking Ormalin aside and getting a little bit of side information from him, and the dinner party itself. Specifically, we got a lot of good information, specifically Teller throwing shade at the captain of the guards with his tail. I mean, I love that. I also have to say I did love obviously didn't know what was coming at the end of this, but telling the mayor, hey, there's liches and dragons, like about like watch your back, and then the Malagar reveal at the end was, it just everything fell into place. Low also, I would say the reception we received. I don't know. I think Myrkala, she demands respect, but I think she kind of expects it, being a foreign noble in a land, telling people how things should be. At the same time, she's trying to look out for folks. But yeah, I mean, that was I guess our names can't get big without some people also throwing shade at us. I mean, that's part of it,
you're
right?
not going to make friends everywhere you go.
Everywhere, yeah.
Haters gonna hate.
And
Haters gonna hate.
I like that every time you tell somebody, my mercenary company will be just outside your walls, you're here to help, but there's an implied threat. It's a little bit of gunboat diplomacy.
Myrkala is always so apologetic about it, like, but it's fine. No, really.
we'll even not kill you all, no charge. That was awesome.
She's direct. She's
For real.
direct. I mean,
that's good stuff. I gotta say thank you, chat. Thank you, Gingy. I'm blushing. I'm a little. I got warm fuzzies because like people I've played with are now watching us play, and that's really, really cool. There's some crossover between my local games and my online games that's also really cool. And just thank you, everybody. Thank you to my awesome cast. Thank you to Paul Messier for our theme song. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod for the other music we use. Smiteworks for Fantasy Grounds, Dungeon Alchemist, and Dungeon Draft and Hexographer for our maps. And I dropped some links there. Check them out. And I gotta say it, if you want your games to have a more professional sound, look into Sirenscape. They've got some great options. And if you're running online games, you can provide a link. It's like Fight Club. People get to decide their own level of involvement, their own volume settings. So if you're looking to balance it out for everybody, you can broadcast it to the channel you're talking on, but it's better if you give them a discrete link and they can listen to it on their own terms. It cuts down on the memory overhead and provides a really immersive experience. We didn't lean too much into it tonight because there wasn't spells and demons or spells and devils and I got demons on the brain. I got demons! But we'll be back next week. We're probably going to go investigate a demon. And hopefully this higher level party, what level will that be for y'all? Is it 8?
That should be 8.
Level 8.
Whew.
That'll be 8.
Hard fought for and well earned. But check us out next week. We'll have everybody at the top give a breakdown of what their character gained from their level. A little meta narrative there. And yeah, we're looking forward. We're going to keep this campaign going through the end of the year. We're calling it Tunneling Through the Holidays. And if you look at Wednesdays, we're going to skip all the holidays and we're going to finish strong. So we will hit 20 episodes on the last Wednesday of 2023. Next year, we got something wild in the works. We're hoping to get it up and running by the third week of January, but it might not happen until February, but we'll see. And might be in a different night. We're still kicking around the particulars, but we're looking forward to sharing some Pathfinder Second Edition with you. And some of us are all ate up with that. Not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun. I've been playing it for almost a year alongside my 5e games. There's things it does better. I'm a fan, and I'm really fortunate that I get to play it as well on alternate Saturday nights. Not this week, but next Saturday. I'm playing a converted D&D barbarian from 5e into Pathfinder Second Edition, and everybody else is having this crisis in character because their gods are changed and all that. And I think my barbarian is the least affected by the changes. She still feels like her. So check us out on that as well. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week. Good night.